The Rwandan Genocide. Before beginning the discussion about what happened during the Rwandan Genocide, a discussion of the history of Rwanda and what led to the Rwandan Genocide should first take place. Hutus were believed to be the first to discover and inhabit Rwanda and were followed closely by the Tutsis. Hutus immediately gravitated towards crop farming, while Tutsis were known as animal herders. Hutus and Tutsis worked well together, and there wasn't a significant difference in appearance between the two ethnicities. They spoke the same language and followed the same religious beliefs. Hutus made up 85% of the country, though Tutsis held greater economic power through animal herding, and were therefore considered partial rulers over Hutus throughout the country. In 1959, Hutus overthrew the Tutsi monarchy, and tens of thousands of Tutsis fled to the neighboring countries for refuge. In the early 1980s, Tutsis formed the Rwandan Patriotic Front, RPF, and began warring for the right for their Rwandan land, with Paul Kagame at the head of the RPF. Tutsis and the Hutus war and negotiate for the next 10 years until Hutu president of Burundi, Melchior Ndadaye, is assassinated in 1993 by Tutsi extremists. Ndadaye's death sent shockwaves throughout Hutu elites and strengthened the resolve that Hutus cannot trust the Tutsis, and thus begins the plan of the Tutsi genocide. Upon Ndadaye's death, Hutus began to actively and openly hate the Tutsis. Hutu Power began compiling lists of Hutu traitors, a list that would be used in the Rwandan genocide. Hutus Radio Télévision Libre des Mille Kilons, RTLM, was a very popular radio station throughout Rwanda. After Ndadaye's death, RTLM immediately began broadcasting severe and serious propaganda against the Tutsis, with extreme obscene jokes, music, and liberal and political slander. RTLM was so savage and renowned, and inspired such hatred and violence, it is said to have contributed to 10% of all Rwandan killings during the genocide, approximating 100,000 deaths. Hutu prejudice and discrimination against the Tutsis only worsened with time, becoming more and more extreme with each passing day, affecting social thinking and persuading the country to dislike and discriminate against all Tutsis. On the 4th of August 1993, Paul Kagame, leader of the RPF, and Juvenal Habyarimana, the Hutu president of Rwanda, signed the Arusha Peace Accord in hopes of finding peace between the two ethnicities and create a power-sharing government. Hutus who had pledged Hutu Power believed Juvenal Habyarimana was a fool for signing the peace accord. Habyarimana signed the peace accord trying to join Hutu and Tutsi forces for greater economic power. However, Hutu extremists disagreed with and outright opposed the accord, wanting complete separation from Tutsi influence and power. It is believed that Juvenal Habyarimana's name was placed on the list of Hutu traitors after he signed the accord. The Hutus' hate for the Tutsi people seems best explained by the conflict theory, a perpetual conflict due to competition, assumed limited resources and opportunities, and social power obtained by domination. Hutus didn't want Tutsi to dominate or associate with them anymore. Rather, Hutus wanted to become the dominant ethnicity, free from Tutsi power or influence. On the 6th of April, 1994, Rwandan President Juvenal Habyarimana, his plane was shot down with a missile by an unknown assailant. With the accumulation of all previous events between the Hutus and Tutsis, Habyarimana's assassination brought such catastrophic devastation among the Hutus that it catapulted the commencement of the Rwandan Genocide immediately, known as the genocidal spark. Though juvenile Habyarimana's assassination was blamed on the Tutsis, it is believed that his plane was shot down by Hutu extremists for signing the peace accord and becoming an ally among Tutsis. For Hutu power, his assassination became the segue for Tutsi annihilation. On the 7th of April, 1994, within hours of the Rwandan president's death, the peace accord ended and extreme violence swept the country. Hutus began slaughtering the Tutsis with excessive force and diligence. Neighbors killing Tutsi neighbors, Hutus killing Tutsi spouses, Hutu gangs, military, and police raiding every house, church, school, hotel, and business with a command to hunt out and slaughter all Tutsi people, while slaughtering any Rwandan who tried to resist. The radio station RTLM was a violent force used to persuade and socially influence and unite the Rwandan people to massacre the Tutsis. The graves are only half empty. Who will help us fill them? Reciprocal determinism played a significant role in the Rwandan genocide, as Hutus felt it was their duty to kill the Tutsi people, as the environment around them persuaded them that this was the way of life. Being Hutu meant being anti-Tutsi. Anti-Tutsi meant being pro-Tutsi genocide. Pro-Tutsi genocide meant taking part of the massacre. The environment affecting the behavior, and the behavior affecting the environment. The massacre was so violent, grievous, it was considered 100 days of hell, with Hutus averaging 8,000 Tutsi killings a day, killing 20% of the Tutsi population with over 1 million deaths within only 100 days. The Rwandan genocide was a massacre considered one of the heaviest moments in human history and the quickest killing spree the world has ever seen. Though the suffering Rwandan people received very little help from the US, UN, France, Belgium, and other neighboring countries, the RPF was able to gather rifles and come together at every border and put an abrupt end to the genocide. Finally, after 100 days of hell, the genocide had stopped. Social influence was a powerful tool in starting the genocide and became a powerful tool in ending the genocide. When the RPF learned about the genocide, the Hutus' actions socially influenced and persuaded their attitudes, cognitions, and behavior to take action and fight to save the Tutsi people. Social influence was the power behind the courage to fight and end the genocide. When trying to understand social situations and social fluence in action, naturalistic observation seems to be the method best used to research behavior that leads to and perpetuates unusually cruel and violent social behavior such as genocide. Naturalistic observation is a method used to gather data through observation without interfering or influencing the individual or their surroundings. Understanding and observing individuals who are willing to massacre or hold prejudices against others could be a very helpful way in understanding socially devastating events such as hate crimes, public and school shootings, gang violence, and other hate-based social violence. Psychologists best suited for handling individuals capable of genocidal behavior would be cross-cultural psychologists, forensic psychologists, social psychologists, and clinical psychologists, whether collectively or individually. As a result of the Rwandan genocide, nations took action against such violence by establishing the International Criminal Court, a court where individuals were responsible for initiating or perpetuating genocidal or inhumane acts are tried and convicted for their crimes. All individuals who participated and perpetuated the Rwandan genocide were tried and convicted for their crimes. In an effort to limit and prevent prejudice and hate crimes among the Rwandan people, it is considered a criminal offense to deny or wrongfully misinterpret the Rwandan genocide or to discuss ethnicity. Today, Rwanda has a nationally recognized public holiday to mourn and validate the tragedies that took place during the Rwandan genocide, April 7th of every year. Although much harm came from the Rwandan genocide, the Rwandan people, both Tutsi and Hutu, currently live in peace and calm, with mutual respect, free of prejudice or hate. The world has been changed forever because of the Rwandan genocide, countries learning from each other's mistakes, creating a fairer, more equal, and just world for tomorrow. Thank you.